It's Brian Hobson, TeeJet Tech Tips. Today, we're going to talk about the Birdie Kit. We're going to go through the installation of the cabling for the 845 and the initial setup of the 845. This sprayer here is set up with 11 nozzles, 4 for section number 1, 3 for the middle section, section number 2, and 4 for the right section, section number 3. The 845 has a 5-section switch box, and we will only be utilizing 3 of the section switches. So as you can see right here, we've got the cable that goes to the 845 ran down into here, and around this side. It's a giant mess of wires, but I wanted to leave them out so everybody could see that connections here. This is the power cable. Connections here all go in, they only go in one way. So you got this type of connector here, and then you've got your GPS speed box down here, and that has a little patch antenna that's mounted up top, and that's just for ground speed. It's not for positioning or any of that. You have this junction box here that goes out to drive your valves on your manifold, which are right here, and we've got them plugged up 1, 2, and 3. Your section numbers are always, number 1 is to the far left, number 3 is to the far right, so you always start counting from left to right for your sections. So you would take this big conglomeration of wires, depending on how your sprayer is built, you'll take get these mounted anywhere you can. So we're going to ball these up and get them right over here in this void and get them zip tied up out of the way. So here we have a 3-pin connector that says speed signal, and that says GPS speed sensor. Those two go together. And then over here we have section 1, 2, and 3 for your section valves. We have a flow meter, and this flow meter is the FM 9380 electromagnetic flow meter, and it has your calibration numbers on it. So this is pulses per liter 396, pulses per gallon is 1500. With the 845, you always use 396 pulses per liter. Even though we're going to use it in gallons per acre, the calibration number goes in liters. And then you have connection for your reg valve. It tells you reg signal. So this is your regulating valve. It is in a bypass mode, but it's still a regulating valve. So flow comes in from the bottom through your filter, and then we have a pressure relief valve here, and then we have your regulating valve that'll let it go back to the tank, flow meter, and then you have your section valves, and then up here you have your pressure transducer. So now we're going to turn the 845 on and go through the initial settings. Press and hold the Pro button, let it power up. And then we're going to take and hold the Pro button again till the menu comes up. Just keep holding. Now, units are gallons per acre. Pro button is like a menu switch button, so we're just going to push it because we're going to use gallons per acre. Speed cal is radar, because it's a radar input. Even though we're using a GPS box to do it, it's sending out a radar pulsed signal. And in this scenario, with the TeeJet speed sensor, we're using 1300 as a calibration number. We don't have to worry about the distance count because we know the calibration number. We're not doing a calibration. Pressure sensor, yes. We showed you the pressure sensor over there on top of the manifold earlier. Pressure reference, this is default set at 4 milliamp. It's a 4 milliamp sensor. It's also a 145 psi pressure sensor, so that right there is correct. Pressure minimum 10 psi. That's the bottom of the gauge. It doesn't read lower than 10. Flow sensor, we talked about that earlier. Your flow meter, yes. And there's our flow meter calibration at 396 pulses. And as I said earlier, on the 845, as you see, it's an 845. This is, you have to put this number in pulses per liter. Our minimum, this flow meter works from 0.6 gallons per minute all the way up to 100 gallons per minute. So we tell it our minimum because this system will automatically switch over from using the flow meter to know how much it's putting out to using pressure to know how much it's putting out. That's what this color bar is for at the bottom that we'll get to in a minute. That's for your tip. So we tell it it's 0.6, so if it drops to 0.5, the system automatically swaps itself over to being in a pressure mode to get the right flow out. Regulation mode, we're going to tell it to start in flow. So flow is by default, it's always going to use the flow meter until it gets below that 0.6 gallons per minute. So in this scenario, our sprayer is on a 20-inch spacing between our nozzles. So we're talking about from nozzle to nozzle. We're on 20-inch spacing. So we have our nozzle spacing here at 20 inches. Number of sections, 3. We talked about this earlier. Number of sections is 3. So push that again. Section number 1 starts on the far left, has 4 nozzles. And to adjust how many nozzles, you use the plus and minus button. So see, that would change it to 3. We need it set to 4. Section 2 has 3 nozzles. Section 3 has 4 nozzles. Density, we're using water, so it's at 1.00. Our regulating valve, we talked about earlier, is in a bypass mode, so we have it in as our type is bypass. So this is the regulation speed, 9.5. So on the left side of the decimal is your coarse, on the right side is 5, which is your fine. And these numbers can be adjusted if you run into problems with the valve constantly oscillating and it won't get on target rate. So it's when you're, let's say you're trying to put out 20 gallons per acre and it's 21.19, 21.19, 21.19, you can come in and adjust your coarse and fine in that particular scenario, most likely the fine, to get it to settle down and get on target rate and stay on target rate. Two-way section valves, so they're on or off. We have a 200-gallon tank size. I didn't put a minimum in here. That's each operator's own setup. You know, if you want the thing to tell you your minimum tank at 25 gallons or 10 gallons or 5 gallons, you can set that up for it to be an alarm. I have it at 0. These are your simulated speed, so you can put it in a simulated speed to test your spray setting still. Our slow speed is at 6 miles an hour. Our high speed is at 9 miles an hour. Those can be changed with the plus and minus buttons as well. Minimum speed, I like to always set this at a 0.1. That way, if you stop and you've still got your master switch turned on, it won't spray setting still. Sometimes it will if you have a minimum speed of 0, so I always like to put a 0.1 in there. So you have to start moving at least a little bit before it will begin trying to spray. And we're back to our original menu, so we'll just push and hold the Pro button again. Now we're back to our regular run page. And you can see down here at the bottom that our nozzle selection is on red. So that would be an 04 nozzle. So when I was talking earlier about how with the flow meter and pressure sensor, if we get down below 0.6 gallons a minute, it knows we have an 04 nozzle, so it knows how much at every pressure is flowing out of that nozzle. It knows how many nozzles are per section, so it knows what to run that pressure at and what flow to get out of it per pressure to get to the right gallons per acre. So I press the Pro button twice and now I can change my gallons per acre. Just push and hold it to go fast, or you can click it however you want. Push the Pro button again. If we want to set a manual PSI to where the rate controller always stays at a constant, it's not speeding up and slowing down the regulating valve with your speed, you would set your manual PSI there. Same with your miles per hour, so that's going through your miles per hour to show you what your speed would need to be, or what your pressure would need to be per speed, your simulated speed we were talking about earlier. And now your nozzle's blinking, so we can back up, or we can go to smaller nozzles, or we can start going up and go to larger nozzles. Press and hold the Pro button again. And at this point, we're ready to go spray. So we've got section 1, section 2, section 3. all turned on. And if we had the pump running and we're out moving around, no speed, so we're sitting still, it's not going to go anywhere, and we don't have any pressure either. That's why your pressure light's on over here, so you have no speed or no pressure, but like I said, we're sitting still.